Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to the Protective Emergency Meeting, February 22nd, I believe, 12 noon. We call the meeting to order. Approval of the agenda. Moved by Mayor Brown, second by Deputy Mayor Yankoff. Any declarations of conflict of interest? We see none. Approval of the previous draft minutes, I believe, was January 31st. Moved by Mayor Brown, second by Deputy Mayor. Was there any business arising from those minutes?
Yes.
Go ahead, Your Worship.
And I always like to refer to our procedural bylaw, Section 34, Order of Business, about business arising from the minutes. And the reason I bring that up, Mr. Chair, is that this is an important part of any process that we have in the city government. And I did ask at the last meeting regarding the list of dilapidated, unsightly, dangerous buildings, that list and where it was. There's nothing in the package. It could have been an oversight. And I know that on our budget, the budget request from the Chief of Police, Brad McConnell, and there was, the numbers are a little difficult to try to match them all together. So I think Eleanor, our CAO, is working with you to come up with a matrix that we can get a better understanding of how these numbers will, address the current situation at the Provincial Community Outreach Wellness Center and the temporary emergency shelter, and then also the resolution that was passed by council to add an additional 6 police officers. So I'd like to at least bring that back if we can to look it over, maybe not have to go over today, just wait for that matrix to arrive so that we can get a better understanding, because it will have a financial impact on our budget for sure. And then we do have we're still waiting for the report from the mediator on fire services and what that's going to manifest itself as 6 more, 10 more firefighters. So there's a lot of questions that I think that we'll be able to put together in one package and hopefully by the next meeting. Thank you.
Sure.
And I just wanted to bring an item up under business arising from the minutes. Thank you, Chair. Just to build on what His Worship said, there's 3 items in our last month minutes where we requested 3 different items to be brought back for this meeting, to be put on the agenda, and not any of the 3 are on the agenda. And I'm just wondering how we might go about, if that request is put into one meeting, how it doesn't end up at the next meeting, and how we might be able to bring these to the next meeting, since clearly we don't have a report on them this month.
Thank you. Is that the outreach and the electric scooters and unsightly properties? Just 3 items, I think it was, wasn't it? Chief, do you have any comment on them?
Yes, Chair. Certainly, I'll start with the unsightly premises. We did compile a report. However, we didn't have it compiled in time to meet the deadline to submit it for a TASE package. I do have copies here and could speak to it, but certainly my apologies on that front. And I may have maybe some oversight on my part. If I could just be reminded of the other items sorry.
Yeah, one was electric scooters, and maybe I can comment on that if you got a sec here, is Dale Johnson, who's in charge of that. He got a hold of myself and Your Worship, I believe, last week, and you, Chief, and we are going to probably sit down with Dale, because that time be coming when all the e-scooters will be looking for the rules and regulations. So we're hoping within the next week or so that we can sit down and just have a discussion, see where we're at with that one. If that was okay, I believe. because we ran into Dale last week, Your Worship, I believe, and he wants to meet with us, so we're all on the same page. So he can get back to the 2 or 3 owners that have these businesses. So we want to have a informal meeting, I guess, just see where we're at with the rules and regulations. And I believe, what was the outreach center, Deputy Mayor? Was that yours that you brought up?
No, Mayor Brown requested that an update on the Provincial Outreach Center be included on the next committee agenda.
And just to address that, Chief, I think was the numbers of, there was a question about the 6 that are actually, it's 10, right? If we look at the whole number, are they dedicated specifically to those 2 facilities at the Riverside Drive location, which is the old government garage? That's what I did ask. So again, that could be part of, the matrix that we're looking at coming from CAO or from someone in Human Resources to address that question.
Certainly, Your Worship, Chair, will endeavor to do that. I think it's interrelated to the budget discussion, and certainly the positions that funded by the province to offset the resources and for the impact of the outreach center and the Park Street location. I keep hearing the word dedicated resources, but as I continue to tell people, it's certainly to bolster the resources we have. We are in emergency services that have to respond for calls of service and with resources that are available on the street. And we do not have the luxury to put people in certain locations all the time. And certainly, although it's our intention to use the resources funded by the province to minimize the impact to the residents, we can by no means promise that they will be on site or dedicated to that on a 100% time basis.
Thank you.
Welcome, Councillor Beck. We're discussing business arising from the previous meeting. Do you have anything?
Just let me check again. I don't think I did. Nope.
Sorry, thank you for that. Okay, let's go right to reports. Fire operational. Is that Deputy Chief Kent Mitchell? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, Your Worship. This report's from January 1st to January 31st, 2024. We had a total number of fire inspections of 7, 6 inspections with hazard compliance orders issued, 1 closed inspection, 1 permit review, 7 fire investigations, and 22 education session/fire drills. Total number of responses were 93. Of those, Station 1 had 40, and Engine 1 were 19. Station 2 had 28, and there were 6 fire inspector callouts. Training continued for our new recruits in this time period with the Level 1 program. There are also several firefighters currently in the Firefighter Level 2 program. We also had 11 participants recently in the full medical first responder course. As well, there are upcoming ice rescue training courses, hazmat awareness, and fire instructor techniques course. We had 7 members complete the Blue Card Hazard Zone Incident Command System training, and we're now in the process of setting up another group to attend this excellent training opportunity. I had the sad news of informing Council on January 3rd, retired Charlottetown firefighter Greg McCormick passed away. Greg spent many years as a proud and capable firefighter, first as a member of the Sherwood Fire Department, then as a member of the Charlottetown Fire Department. We also hosted 2 education sessions during this period. We hosted 15 individuals from Homeschooled Association, provided fire information to children and parents and educators, as well as 15 students from English as a second language class from Holland College. That concludes my report. Chair?
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Any questions for the Deputy Chief in that? We see none. Okay, we'll move right along. Chief Mamie.
Thank you, Chair. And Your Worship. Yes, the next report, or 0224, is the draft fire and EMO capital budgets. This report will identify the 24-25 capital needs of the Fire Department and Emergency Measures Organization. The staff recommendation is that the Protective Services Committee supports these budget proposals for forward to Finance Committee and Advancement of Council for final approval. Both fire and EMO capital budgets have many carryover requests, as the tendering, purchasing, and delivery of several large purchase items has taken more time to conclude than originally anticipated. The new initiative for the purchase of new SCBA's is the only additional funds request for the 24-25 budget beyond the incremental increases for the carryover items. Believe these budgets are reasonable and practical use of public funds required for the effective and efficient delivery of fire and emergency measures services to the community. The capital budget spreadsheet is included in the package. As you'll see, for the carryovers for fires, we start at the top. Fire Station 3 design, the incremental increase there of 3%. Fast response craft, same with an incremental increase to carryover. Our engine replacement, small carryover there increase as well. Firefighter turnout gear, looking for 150,000 in that. That's a carryover as well. And for small equipment, a new budget 24-25 item, 120,000. And the replace and upgrade of the SCBA's 230,000 in there is the new request under capital for fire. Down to the EMO, full list of EMO with the emergency generator work is carryover. Working with the assets manager to get the final details on each and every one of the sites for the generator use. But the carryover equivalents are all listed there in a total 1.529. Willing to answer any questions on the capital for both fire and EMO, if there are any.
Any questions? Councillor Beck.
Chief, what's turnout gear?
The bunker gear that firefighters wear, it's called turnout gear and or fire bunker gear. So that's the pants, the jacket, a hood, helmet, boots, and gloves.
Okay.
For
Thank you.
firefighting, structural firefighting.
Thank you.
When we get to, I'll explain a little bit about where we're at with our turnout gear within the industry and within the fire service when we get to the next report.
Go ahead, Your Worship.
So 80 kilowatt generator, did we purchase one, is that a carryover from last year you're carrying over? So we didn't purchase it last year, is that right? Just want to clarify that.
They went to tender 2 years ago, Your Worship, and that's where we're hung up a little bit with the process right now, and with working with the assets manager to find out exactly what stage each and every one of the generators that are listed here are currently at.
Yeah. So what do we have there now as a backup generator? Is it an 80 kilowatt or is it 40?
For which one, Your Worship?
Station 1 and Station 2.
Station 2 does not have a current generator, so that would be
That'd
brand
be a new
new.
one, yeah.
Station 1 does not have 80 kilowatt. That'd be an upgrade on the current system that's there, which is shared with the City Hall electrical generator upgrades, and that's why the upgrades are required there for the larger generator.
Oh, so you're using the backup generator that's in the basement here?
We're combined with that, with the one out back as well, between Station 1 and the City Hall. Those two generators out back of Station 1 and in the basement of Station.
That's in the back parking lot? That's ours, or that's not the Ceridian building?
No, the one that's tight to the fire station.
Okay. So if we have another February like we had last year, and we needed some backup generators, let's say for a voluntary group, i.e. a church that said, look, we need a generator to give us some backup power, do we, like, what's our inventory? Do we have something that we can use as a portable to send to maybe 1, 2 groups that would want to assist in providing a comfort place for?
Yes, Your Worship. We currently have 2 mobile generators. Public Works looks after them. They're serviced and maintained out at the McAleer, and they are available for power outages at any of our community centers. We may be able to help any sort of a community building as well, or a church building in the area. They would have to look at the configuration for hooking up there, but we do have 2 mobile generators that provide power to some of our buildings that don't have it, the Hillsborough Community Center, Station 2 itself, West Royalty, et cetera. So we do have 2 mobile sources.
Yeah. So the one that we have right now over at Station 1, is that a 40 kilowatt? Do you know what it is? I know 80 is a.
80 is an upgrade. I'd have to check on the actual kilowatts of the current one, Your Worship.
So could we move that existing one to some other facility in the city?
That would be something that's determined through the actual tendering process when they put together what's required in regards to, as you can see with City Hall, it's not a new generator, but it's the electrical upgrade so they can tie into the 80 kilowatt.
Right.
So there are some differences there, and I would have to get this particulars there to be answered that correctly, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Deputy Mayor, Councillor Beck, you're good? Thank you. Okay, thank you, Chief. I guess we did gear, did we, or did we not?
We did not. That'd be the
No,
next
I'm
report.
sorry,
Your
go
Worship.
ahead. Yes.
Thank you, Chair, Your Worship. So next report, 0324, to advise the committee of the change to fire's request for the purchase of $225,000 in turnout gear, which was approved in the 2023-24 capital budget due to some ongoing industry material concerns. Our recommendation is that council approves the sole source purchase through Safety Source Fire, the authorized supplier and approved tender winner for the supply and delivery of 12 sets of turnout gear at the cost of $47,347.80. Some of the details to share, the turnout gear supply industry is currently working to develop new material to use in the making of the turnout gear as a discovery of PFAS, which are polyfluoroalkyl substances known as forever chemicals, which have been linked to both cancer and some other serious health risks, have being used in all the material for all suppliers. We require the current sets that we're going to buy to maintain our complement of serviceable sets for our members and to make sure we have the appropriate surplus there. This was discussed through the 2023-24 capital budget, and the total cost, including tax, is $47,347.80 to be drawn from the capital budget line 54035-5406 as approved in the 2023 budget. So basically, we are buying less gear than we were originally approved, just so to give the industry some time to make some improvements with the material while we keep up our supply.
Thank you, Chief. Your Worship, you get your light on, are you ready? to
Yeah, I do.
rumble?
Yeah. I just missed something on the capital. Chief, just going back to the generator and electrical for Kerry and Eastlink, why are we carrying the cost? They have a board of directors. Why would they not put it under their capital request? Was that a request made to you?
That was a request made of EMO and also involved the manager of economic development, Wayne Long, last year with both assets management, with economic development and EMO combined to do, and there will be some cost sharing there, Your Worship. I just don't have the full details as Wayne was more involved than I was.
Oh, so it'll be more than 500. That's our share, and then they will be,
The actual particulars I'd have
Eastlink will
to,
be coming with their share also? Is that what I'm?
I would have to confirm that through the other manager, Your Worship, but my understanding is there's a cost sharing there, and those were estimates based on the work that's required.
And because it's the Kerry and Eastlink, they're bigger facilities than Station 1, so you'd be looking at bigger than 80 kilowatts, correct?
I believe, Your Worship, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Your Worship. Anything good? Go ahead, Councillor Beck.
Yeah. So, Chief, I think, I'm assuming that the company named Safety Source, there's a limited supply chain on this? Is that the reason for just going out with why we're sole sourcing it and not going out to an RFP?
There was a tender awarded in 2021, Councillor, and with a 3-year carryover. So this is our final year of being able to bank on the 2021
okay.
prices, which is why we're at Safety Source. Our next purchase next year will go out to tender again.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. So we need approval to send this to finance. Do I have a move by Councillor Beck? Second by Deputy Mayor Yankoff. All those in favor? 3-0. Thank you very much. That didn't hurt. Okay. Thank you, Chief. Is that it?
Yes, Your Chair, I do have a couple of new initiatives to discuss, but I can wait for new business.
Sure.
If you'd rather do it there.
Okay, thank you. I guess Chief Brad McConnell, you're up. Please, and thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We have one report in your package. It's regarding it's information to committee and council about a request from local businesses to the PEI Liquor Commission to extend the hours of operation during the East Coast Music Awards on May 2nd and 3rd from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. We just want to bring this forward for information purposes. This has occurred in the past during other events, and certainly we are in support of this and had no issues in the past, and understand the value of this event to our city, and will certainly support this. And just want to advise committee that not only police but fire and others were consulted on this, and we have advised the Liquor Commission that we have no issues.
Thank you on that, Chief. Before I ask for any questions, so you stated we did it before, which we did. There's never really any major issues around surrounding this being extended, the hours from residents or other businesses or anything, damage?
Chair, I'm not aware of any incidents that are directly related to the extension of the hours.
And that got to be approved by PEI Liquor first before, okay, any other questions on this?
Chief, so 2019, when we had the ECMAs, we went from 2 to 4? I don't remember that. Maybe I don't remember the weekend.
Your Worship, I can't I can't
Because of that.
comment on that specific event, but certainly I know
I don't think we did.
the other times we did for sure. In fact,
Don't recall 2019 doing it, but I understand why we have to. You only have Hunter's Ale House, the factory, the Charlottetown Beer Garden, and John Brown's. Those are the only 4 facilities, right?
that's correct at this current time.
Yes, so if ODP makes a request, is that added to the list, or do they have to make request to the PEILCC?
They have to make a request to the PEI Liquor Commission, and certainly part of the consultation process is to engage stakeholders like police and fire and other stakeholders, and certainly to gauge the potential impacts. And so if there is another additional request, I would expect the same process.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, again, I don't remember it being that request coming back in 2019. And it's the Thursday the 2nd, Friday the 3rd, and Saturday the 4th. That's 3 days, right? That's what's on your
That's correct.
background. Okay, yeah. Yep.
And just to clarify, what the mayor brought up too, Chief, is, so these are just the 4 that asked for it so far. And if there's somebody else comes up and asks, they got to go through the same process again. Just in case there's somebody listening on the World Wide Web.
That is correct. Certainly, we are not the approving body for, on this. We just brought for information to committee and council.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, that means that LDP or the Delta, if they make a request, that's not coming back here. We're approving the times,
Right.
just for the 4 that are stated here.
Yes.
Any thereafter,
That's what I want to clarify.
that doesn't come back here, correct?
We would not bring it back to committee, Your Worship. Certainly, we're in support of the extension, and would leave any further to the Liquor Commission to approve based on the circumstances.
Okay. Everyone clear as mud on that one? Good. Anything else, Chief, or?
There's no resolution, Your Worship, associated to that, just for information purposes.
You good? That's it? Under new business then we go? Or do you have any other reports, Chief? I'm sorry.
I have no other reports. Maybe I'd just look for some direction. We do have the information about the abandoned building update. We could discuss that under new business if that was within procedural. I could,
Okay.
so Chair,
Thank you, Chief. Okay. I guess we go under new business, correct? Would you like to go Fire Chief Tim Mamie first?
Thank you, Chair, Your Worship. As last committee meeting, 2 of my new initiatives I had deferred at that point until we could better get all of our information together. We have since received a arbitration decision that we're currently reviewing, but there's going to be some shift changes, as we were well aware, which prioritized our asks here for us more so for based on the safety and safe operations of the department. So our first priority rated critical and very occupational health and safety driven, and priority 1 for the department are 2 supervisory positions to develop and work with the permanent firefighter 2 members. With the planned schedule change to 4 platoons, these 2 supervisory positions would work opposite shifts to ensure coverage during working and response capabilities or responsibilities. These positions would be an immense operational and occupational health and safety improvement from the current operations, as there currently are no supervisors on shift. Having an officer or supervisor arrive in advance of or with responding units provides an operational capability the department currently does not control for all responses because of our combination departments. So having these positions on shift would ensure that. This initiative advances the strategic plan by providing that first vital level of supervisory safety and awareness for department members and for the residents we serve. It improves to the industry strand of incident command and the span of control during operations, allowing our department to operate more clearly under some of the industry standard guidelines. It provides a layer of safety and supervisory abilities to the personnel on shift at a response, performing daily routines, and when interacting with the public. This advances the strategic plan of the department and the city with positive and immediately responsive supervisory control of departmental resources and personnel. For that reason, Chair, that's why the department rating is A and priority number 1. The other 2, one is concerning a deputy fire chief, which, understanding the current organizational needs of the entire city organization, would rate our number 2 priority within the department, but understanding where that rates with the organization. And our third is a new initiative for the self-contained breathing apparatus purchase, which was in the capital budget for $230,000. That is once more a sole source purchase, as there is only one provider of MSA products in the community or in the region. So we'd be going through them for the purchase, and it would be for the purchase of packs to add the vital safety component of our, which is called Lunar technology, which allows for finding lost or disoriented firefighters that may become incapacitated or trapped in a building. This can help locate them and bring the rapid intervention crews, or in there the rescue firefighters, directly to them due to this technology. It is currently something we don't have in the department, so it's a massive increase in the safety and protection of our personnel, which is why that is rated as our department priority number 3 with an occupational health and safety driven rating. Happy to answer any questions on those, Chair, if there are any.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Any questions, Your Worship?
Mr. Chair, I didn't see it in my package under new business, what I read.
Your Worship, with the The late arrival, we had been waiting on the arbitration decision, and we just received it, so that prompted our response today. So I do have that on Drive, and I'll be able to share following the meeting, but we just put it together prior to the meeting as a result of the direction that the department has to take.
Okay, just to clarify, so the arbitrator came down with a decision on what we are looking at for the future needs of the Charlottetown Fire Service, correct?
The arbitration decision was in regards to the collective agreement between the firefighters and the city.
Right.
Right.
And do we know, maybe I missed it, are we adding numbers to our fire services? Do we know that?
We're looking to, not through the arbitration decision, Your Worship. There's a change in the shift schedule. We will be moving to a different schedule than currently employed. So with that, with crews being established and 4 separate crews, we need to establish the 2 supervisor positions, which would be new to the department, to oversee those crews during their operations, is why that's the number 1 priority.
Would just like to have the information to look it over because this is under new business and
So it's going to come forward as a package to finance because the budget's upon us.
Yeah.
So this will come forward with the recommendations for all the different positions
Right,
with the priority within the organization.
yeah.
So Chair,
Yes, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Deputy.
so I'm assuming then there's no recommendation coming from this committee because we don't have any information. So this is just a chit chat.
It's more of a heads up to the committee
Yeah.
and this is what's happened.
Yeah.
And this is now what's being prioritized. In the past, you've heard the chief talk about a deputy chief. What he's saying today is that's getting bumped down and then ask for the priority now as the 2 supervisors. But that will come forward as part of your package for finance, the full package with all the positions across the organization.
Just to make sure that the package then states that there was no recommendation from this committee, because the last time we did do a recommendation from the committee to support staff's recommendations, so this time we don't have that. So just to make sure that when it does go to finance, that it's clear in the package that it was for information only for this committee, just so that we can follow the, yep, thanks.
Councillor Beck.
Yeah, Chief, can you outline briefly what the change is in our, you were referencing a change in platoons, or is that?
Yes, through the arbitration decision, the decision came down, and we're just currently reviewing it with our legal representative as well. For all of the determinations, there were, I think, 9 items that the arbitration board made decisions on, from salary and wage increases to shift schedule. So there will be a change in the shift schedule.
And what will that, I guess that's what I'm wondering, what will that change look like?
I think until we have our full meeting with our legal representative, I can't really speak to the
Okay.
particulars, but there is this shift change which is prompting this, and we can further discuss.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Dan Jenkins, welcome.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to advise that the Chief Mamie did consult with us with respect to the new initiative resulting from the changes in operational requirements as a result of the arbitration report. We just received that report yesterday, so I encouraged Chief Mamie to bring it to committee as we had done with the other new initiatives, but it is something that operationally will hit the next fiscal year, so thought it would be prudent to bring it to your committee for information.
Thank you for that, Mr. Jenkins. Yeah, it was information, and I agree with the deputy mayor too, because you don't want to all of a sudden council say, well, I mean, where's your recommendation on this? So this is just for discussion and information purposes. Your worship, go
So,
ahead.
Mr. Chair, okay, I have last year's budget, 23-24. We have 12 career firefighter 2, 5 ELS firefighter 2, 2 career fire inspectors, 1 career fire prevention officer, fire chief, deputy fire chief, assistant, administrative assistant. So are we going up 12 times 2, 12 plus 6? Like, Chief, we've been waiting for this arbitration decision for some time, and to bring it up under new business, I think, I looked through my package a couple of times to see if the info was there. This is a significant change in our operations, so do we have, like, maybe we should have vetted this through legal before bringing this into the public forum. This is now in the public forum, and we don't know the numbers. Like, we have to wait for the legality. So are you looking at 6 plus 12, 6 plus 12? Sorry, 12. We have currently 12 career firefighters. So 2. So do you know the number?
The number is 2, Your Worship. There is no determination through the collective agreement for an increase in staffing. What's prompting the increase from and the priority from management is the prompted shift change, which arbitration has determined. There is no increase determined through any of the arbitration decisions in regards to minimum manning or staffing. So we're just working on being able to safely and effectively operate the fire department when we have to make that change to the schedule. So it's an increase of 2 members, 2 supervisors.
Okay, and so will it go from 8-hour shifts to 12, 12 to 24? Do we know that?
That's what we're working through with the arbitration decision right now, Your Worship. It's been awarded, so we just have to discuss more internally with legal to determine within the next 30 days, I believe, from when the decision come down, if there were any issues that either party had with the decision, they can make a claim back to the arbitration board, which has rights to, retained rights to determine and work through any issues both parties might have.
So for clarification, are we currently at 8-hour shifts for our firefighters, or is it 12?
It's 8-hour shifts, Your Worship.
Okay. So, and are we going to 4 per shift? Is that in the arbitration decision?
Really operational.
Well, no, but that affects a bottom line here. So operational or politically, we have to find the money for it. So that's why this should have been vetted through legal and presented to us in a package instead of just being brought into us as a new business issue. And no criticism to the chief. I think he had information he wanted to share very quickly with us. But again, we have to make a cost analysis decision that is going to impact the 24-25 budget. Correct? Am I wrong, Mr. Jenkins?
Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, sorry, Chair, can I just go?
Yeah, no, we'll go ahead.
Through the chair to the mayor. Yes, but I think the chief's presentation in terms of the new initiative reflects his best information in terms of what the future requirement would be. Although it is early in the process, and there is an appeal period, if you will, with respect to the report. We're trying to get ahead of it and present the best information that we have at this point. There are details to be worked out operationally, obviously, but that is a representation of what we understand at this point, to be clarified.
Mr. Chair, I respect that, this information came to us quickly, but, we're, for fire, for 23-24, it was 5.1 million. So with the information you have, you probably can't tell us if it's going from 5.1 to 6.1, 7.1. That is not an operational question. That is a budgetary question that we have to make a decision on. So do we know that yet?
I'm not sure exactly what you're looking for, Your Worship. The increase in the operational budget in regards to our spending or salary and wages is an increase in 2 personnel, 2 supervisors. No additional firefighter 2s. That is the ask for the budget year 24-25.
Right.
As we develop our operational plan, which of course has been on hold as we were awaiting the collective agreement arbitration, we can now move forward and make a presentation for any future growth, which will be developed through management and staff and brought forward to committee and council. But at this point, for 24-25 budget, the full ask is 2 supervisory positions.
Okay. So did you incorporate, through the chair to the chief, so did you incorporate that in your budget presentation at the last meeting? I'm just trying to find it here.
No, Your Worship, we did not. We didn't know at that point we had a deferral last month of our last monthly meeting of my 2 new initiatives. One was for the deputy chief. We didn't make one for the supervisors as we were making one priority for our personnel. That changed with the collective agreement decision. So we switched our first priority to the 2 supervisory positions. And with the wage increases back over 5 years, we didn't have the exact numbers. I'm sure finance is working through that today as the arbitration decision just came down in regards to salary increases.
Yeah. So I have your budget draft for 24-25, 5.3 million. That's what you presented at the last meeting on the 31st. So that's going to be amended. It will have to be amended to reflect the arbitrator's decision. And that will be presented to finance, not coming back here. Oh, I thought we make the recommendation too. Or is that an operational thing that I should be bringing up here? I just want to make sure that I don't cross that fine line. Mr. Chair, can I go through
You can go through
Dan?
CAO Elner maybe, or Dan?
either one?
Dan, go ahead.
Through the chair to the mayor, yes, it is an operational question, but certainly the intention is to reflect all of the operational requirements from a budgetary perspective to council through the finance committee next week. Timing was an issue in this case. This committee was meeting today. The decision came down yesterday, and the chief and I supported him in bringing the information that he had at this point through. But there are there's some math that has to happen to figure out what the operational costs of the arbitration report are, and that will come back to finance committee and council in a more fulsome manner when we have the implications worked out.
Mr. Chair, like, you've been, like, the last council, we were going ahead with the third fire station. That was hauled back because we had to get this arbitration decision. We've been waiting for this. And to hear it on the floor today, I thought there would have been at least something that's sent out to mayor and council to indicate that arbitrator's decision came down. Because I've been waiting for this for 2+ years like yourselves. And to find out under new business that this is the shift, like, I think in the future, guys, we have to understand there is an operational side, but in this room, there's a political forum that we have to, that we're accountable for. And when we look at our budget process, there will be, some decisions we have to make, whether to, cut services because we want to keep the budget balanced or raise taxes. These are all issues that this political component has to face. So I'm just, to find out that we were waiting for this decision to get it under new business, I think that's why I'm a little bit confused. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair to the mayor, and I think in the interest of transparency and keeping council and this committee informed, that was the intention of bringing this new initiative forward, and the information that the arbitrator's report had been provided. So that was the
So
intention.
this is how the rest of the council is being informed today. There was no email to send out, it was sent out prior to this meeting to say that the arbitrator's decision came down, here's what's going on. So councillors that are not here, the 7 that are not here, they will find out from watching it on YouTube, City of Charlottetown. Correct?
I suspect that
Yeah.
council on Monday at their next council meeting would be provided further information. But again, operationally, there's a lot of dust to settle in terms of what the implications are. So, don't want to bring forward misinformation. Those details need to be worked out and presented in a fulsome manner to both committee and council. But this committee was meeting today, so we wanted to provide as much information as we could at this point.
Just to conclude, your Mr. Chair, yeah, that's right, we should have waited for all the dust to settle. That's why there should have been a package that could have been brought to this committee at an emergency meeting next week to go over it. I think we're just getting parts and pieces, but we're still going to have to wait to go through legal to find out what will manifest through this decision or how we're going to accommodate for it in the budget. Yeah, Danny, I agree. There should have been some dust settled before bringing it here. Because it's a decision we've been waiting for a long time. And now we got it through new business. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm agreeing with both sides, but at the same time, Your Worship, this is just an information session because it just closed yesterday. The arbitration is what I understood. And they just want to sort of update us a bit on this, but it's not all settled yet, from what I'm hearing, is because both sides can either appeal or not appeal, things along that line. So, but this is just to sort of say where the arbitration was, that it closed yesterday.
We can't appeal the arbitrator's decision. That's the final decision.
Yeah.
There is no appealing it.
Well, discussions anyway,
Yeah.
but what I'm trying to say is that, what I understood is that the chief brought it to us today just to say that the arbitration report finally came in after 2.5 years, and I agree, because I was sitting on this committee for years with you, and we've been asking for it, but now it's finally come in. Councillor Beck, did you have your light on, or?
Oh, it's just similar sentiment to you, Councillor Williams, our chair. You know, I get the lateness of it all. I get the expediency in trying to get it in, get the information out there. And, you know, I'll reiterate again that we have a lot of demands coming forth at us in the next little while from all departments. And there we are in the midst of figuring out what we're going to be able to accommodate and what we're able to going to be fit into that 12-inch pizza box that we have going on there. So, you know, so there's a lot of stuff to consider. And I guess personally, I can appreciate the way that some things just take time for the dust to settle. In the absence of that, I think it's important to understand the general nature of it, and I think we got an outlining of that today. And to Eleanor's point, it will go through with all the other budgetary requests that are coming from all the other departments as well too. So personally, although it's not an entirely clear picture, I appreciate having at least a bit of an update or a little bit of an idea as to what we're looking about. So then if it does come time for a budgetary process, to understand at least an idea of where it's all coming from. The long-awaited arbitration decision did come in, and so we have to respond accordingly. So,
Hey, Mr. Chair, I appreciate what the Councillor Beck is saying, but Councillor Beck, just remember that the media now will have access to what we're discussing today, so that will be reported. Do we have a comms package ready for answering those questions? And in terms of, you know, good, in serving in good faith, this is a decision that is a contractual decision. It could have been discussed in closed session too, to get, you know, a better idea before we released it to the public. Now it's out in the public, and we have to deal with it. So that's my disappointment, is that this is something that all three of us, because since the last council, we were proceeding to build a new fire station, new fire services facility, but it was held up because we had to look at the arbitration and everything that was going to unfold from that. So there's some other factors that were playing into this. So I think that's where my frustration's coming from.
And I understand your frustrations, Your Worship, but the moral of the story is just that he is a base. What I understand, maybe I'm wrong, is that the arbitration just closed yesterday, so he's just giving us a little information. So no matter what the press writes or anything along that line, which, you know, he's not going to be right anyway. But at the same time, they're just going to, if they ask any questions, if it's just an information session, and the I's are not all dotted and the T's are not crossed. What I'm understanding. Oh, go ahead, Chief.
Thank you, Chair and Your Worship. The purpose behind the new business and the presentation of the new initiative was just that, not to share the contents of the collective agreement arbitration decision. We, as staff, are still just dissecting it and going through it. And with our financial staff, they're looking at the implications of the salary and wage increases back over these years. So I brought it up as a support for the request for the two supervisory positions, as we're going to have a shift change. It was not to discuss the details of the arbitration award. The new business was entirely to get our new initiative request for two supervisors into the hopper with every other department's request here in the city. The timeline, not the best, but it wasn't to share the particulars of the arbitration decision. It was simply to get our new initiative request in and in line with finance.
Thank you for that, Chief. CAO Eleanor, how are you?
Wow, pretty good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is not something we would have in closed session. There's no negotiation going on here. This is the end. This is a decision from an arbitration. This is the appropriate committee to break the news to bring this information to first. So we've done that. And it really was, this is what we know at this point, a heads up of the positions that we need. And as explained during council and previous committee meetings, there is going to be a package of prioritized positions, analysis between police, between fire, between finance, all the different departments of what positions will be going forward. That will be recommended to council as a whole package with the rationale behind it. And that will be coming first to Finance Committee and then on to Council. So today, we only just received it, like we said yesterday. This is to provide the information, the decision has been made, and we're working through what it means for the city. And that will be provided to Committee and Council in due time. There's not any other information to provide at this point. There will not be a press release or communications to the media. We don't discuss these kind of items in the media. And that's where we stand today. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you. You're exactly right. Are you okay, Deputy Chief? I shouldn't say you're okay. Do you have any questions? I'm sorry. She's good. Okay. Thank you for that, Chief. Chief Brad McConnell for new business, I believe.
Thank you, Chair. I do have copies of the report regarding the abandoned building list I could hand out. And we certainly appreciate the work of Deputy Chief Mitchell and our bylaw officer in compiling this list. And again, our apologies for not getting included in the package, Chair, as I know was requested. There's 10 properties identified, and this list is last updated on February 14th. And I'll give you a minute to review it there, and I can name off the properties and the PID numbers. There's a descriptive analysis of the progress and the issues for each of the properties, and I won't go into all of that, but can certainly endeavor to answer any questions about it. But we do, the number one property is 31 Kirkwood Drive, PID number 397083. The second property is 83 Houston Street, the old Irving gas station, PID 355925. The third is 231 Richmond Street, PID 340703. The fourth is 470 Malpeck Road. And I'm just looking at the highlighted here. This says that this file has been closed and removed from the list, so I will skip that one. 5, 148 Upper Prince Street, PID 369405. 265 Houston Street has been removed from the list also as an update. Number 7 is 54 Maple Avenue. There's no PID number, it's a vacant building. Number 8 is 4 Oakland Drive, is also a vacant building. Number 9 is 2224 Chestnut Street, PID 355958. And the 10th is 12 Greenfield Avenue, and this has also been removed from the list as the file has been closed. We'll do my best to answer any questions if committee has.
Thank you for that, Chief. I just have a comment on 2224 Chestnut Street. I was talking to the family last year and the year before, and every year her and her sister are looking to have that have that demolished. They would have had it done within last year or 2 years ago, but they had a contractor already set up. Now, this is their words, and then he pulled out the last minute. So that's why those properties are not done, but the family is seriously looking at having these buildings removed. So that's just information that I've been talking to the family about that. Thank you.
Appreciate the update, Chair.
Everyone okay with the list?
Chief, the follow-up, sorry, Mr. Chair, so the follow-up for 31 Kirkwood, I think there was one in NASA Street too, right? NASA that's owned by, yeah. Anyways, so the follow-up for these is just to keep tracking them by communicating with the landowner, the property owner, is that correct? Just trying to clarify.
Your Worship, and Deputy Mitchell, please jump in here if I misspoke on the process, but this is a list of the properties that meet the threshold of issuing a hazard compliance order and are vacant buildings, different than just simply unsightly property. So
Mr. Chair, that's correct. When the hazard compliance order is issued, and at that time, it is followed up, and there is a time period under the unsightly bylaw where there's an 18-month period that would have to elapse before it was moved to the next step.
And just to clarify with a lot of people, I guess, or people keep saying, how come this is empty and that's empty? There should be complaints brought forward, and it should be dangerous and hazardous, is it, or something? Or, like, we just can't go to certain properties and say, you have to tear that down. I think there's steps that have to be taken. Does that make sense to you? Or you know, that our bylaw officer and fire inspector goes and checks with it, and if it's not safe, but as far as just cutting grass and everything along that line, I think there is a separation there, is there not? I mean, before a building gets demolished. I don't think we have the authority basically to go in unless it's unsafe to say the building got to be demolished.
yes, Chair, that is correct. Certainly, there's a lot of due diligence and process for a building to be deemed to be unsafe and uninhabitable, and certainly not just a succession of uncut grass. But I'll let the Deputy Fire Chief weigh in if there's anything else to add on that. But there's certainly a difference between unsightly and unkept properties to ones that are dangerous to the public.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Beck, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so just for clarification on that, Deputy Chief Mitchell, with regards to the hazardous compliance order being issued, and you mentioned about the clock ticking, does the 18-month period, does the 18-month period kick in only after the hazardous compliance order is issued? Is that when a property is figuratively on the clock, if you will, to do something with the property? Is that when the 18-month period starts? Okay.
He said yes.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, no questions? Okay, I believe is that it, Chief, for the new business?
That is it, Your Worship, yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Mayor Brown, second by